Good evening.
Why am I salivating?
I would like to call to order the Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School District School Committee meeting. It is Thursday, May 20th, and it is 6:34. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Sean, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's see. Members of the committee and the public will also be able to access this meeting via remote technology meeting technology such as Zoom, and all necessary and access information will be posted prior to the meeting. The video of the Zoom meeting will be posted on the district's website as soon as is practical. So I think we have one. Do we have one person
I give public comment.
for public comment? One person? Okay, so we have Brianna Brown and for public comment. Now, this is the first time we've done this way. Is Brianna on the line? Okay, Brianna, I've been excited to hear what you have to say. So take it away.
Hi, my name is Brianna Brown, and I would like to talk about a fundraiser that I have created for the Wilbraham Middle School Band. I am currently an 8th grade student at the school TECA. I was enrolled in Wilbraham Middle School last year, but have changed schools due to the COVID-19 virus. As part of my current social studies course, I was assigned to identify an issue in my community and make a plan to try to help it. While at WMS, I was a member of the band program. I played the oboe. I believe that the arts are especially important for students in the school. Being part of the WMS band was one of my favorite parts of the day. I got to connect with friends, learn about music, and improve my playing skills. In light of my experience, I came up with an idea to donate money to the WMS band program. I am organizing a virtual fun run to help raise money. I'll be asking my friends, family, and neighbors to support me in this cause. I want the school committee to be aware of what I am doing and hopefully support my efforts and the funding of the band program in years to come. If anybody would like to make a donation to my fundraiser, my email is bryanabrown2007 Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brianna, and I hope you've made a connection with the middle school principal, John DeRocher, because he's, if you have made that connection, I know that he was going to send out a flyer and an announcement of the fundraiser to middle school parents. So I encourage you, if you haven't done that already, reach out to him because he's all set to support you. And good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Unmute yourself. You can mute. We're using the owl, so you don't even have to have your mic on.
Okay.
So we won't get that.
Do you want to switch that?
All right. So our second public comment is out of town tonight.
Cheryl's still not muted.
Okay, well, it's off here. So I'm not sure what else to do here.
Cheryl with no red microphone.
All right, let me just.
Can you mute?
Yeah. That was muted already.
Yep.
Good. You're all
All right.
good.
So let me try it again. I'll get it right eventually. Megan Harrigan is in charge of the very hardworking group that is sponsoring One Book, One Community this year. I'm going to take my mask down just a little so that you can understand me. One Book, One Community is a very important part of our summer way of getting kids involved in reading, fun, social engagement, and doing things with families. The mission each year for One Book, One Community for HWRSD Selection Committee is to choose a readily available and discussable book written by a major author and invite Hamden and Wilbraham residents to read the same book at the same time and explore it through a series of free programs running approximately throughout the school year, one school year. Revealed at the end of the school year to enjoy over the summer with your families and woven into the school year with assignments, assemblies, and local programming. Each year's events feature book discussions and free district-wide community activities related to the themes raised by these inspiring stories. One Book, One Community aims to enrich the experience of reading for everyone and bring the community together. The goal of this project is to provide a book for families to read together and provide opportunities for our district to foster a sense of community by coming together throughout the summer and in the upcoming school year with engaging activities connected to this book. Students entering 1st to 5th grade receive the book at the end of the school year before the summer begins. So this book is going to be revealed, I believe, next June.
June 1st.
June 1st. That's what I thought it
June
was.
1st.
You get me confused here. And what I want to say is, talking with Megan, she has expressed that it's so frustrating because they have all these wonderful events every week scheduled for families and kids, not just around this story, but around reading, around being with friends, around celebrating education, and around celebrating fun. And she wants you to know all of this is happening free of charge, free of cost, and it's there for your children. The summer program highlights, we have a variety, we have more variety, more choices, more prizes, more community outreach, and more fun this year. That's because although the kids get involved in the book, very few of the opportunities during the summer are taken up by the adults bringing their children to them. First of all, there's an audio book available online, read by district teachers on our website. There's 8 weeks of virtual activities ranging from writing to drawing and doing a good deed to thanking a person in the community. Each week, participants have a chance to win a $50 gift card and an extra entry into the grand prize. There is free ice cream to all students that participate in a bingo card over the summer from Rice's. There's a story walk on the Oakland Trail in Wilbraham for the summer to do at your leisure for July and August, made possible with the help from the Wilbraham Open Space Committee. A lot of our town is very involved in getting everyone involved this summer. There's a STEM science event in Hamden sponsored by the Hamden Library in July. There's a make and take crafts sponsored by the Wilbraham Library. A story hour and engaging activities hosted by and at the Wilbraham Children's Museum at the end of July. There's a geocaching 101 event before school ends in June. The program is in partnership with the Open Space community members. There will be 2 selfie spots, one in each town. LUSO will be collecting the end of summer submission piece and raffling off 4 Kindles for students to win. Ms. Smith will have a virtual art lesson available online for students to enjoy this summer on those rainy and boring inside days. LUSO's front window and 4 school bulletin boards will be designed and decorated by members, mostly past students, in our community for summer and for students to return to in the fall. We will be partnering with Operation Rescue Smile to collect new stuffed animals for the fire department to use on calls involving children in our community as our charity piece. And we are excited that the author of this book has agreed to Zoom in and visit us in the fall at the various schools. So basically, she's saying to me, Cheryl, you can talk this up without spoiling the book. Now, I didn't spoil the book, I guarantee you. Tell them about the weekly fun, the summer fun, the ice cream, etc. It's really easy, silly. It's a really easy, silly, quick read with a good message we can all enjoy. So please, please support One Book, One Community this summer. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? That was long enough, yes.
Just along with that, Cheryl, Megan does an incredible work on the One Book, One Community. It's certainly something that we appreciate and take part in. Like you said, June 1st will be the unveiling of the book that we share with all our families, and we make sure all those books go out to our families to enjoy during the summer. The biggest part of all those activities that you're talking about is that the families and children read during the summer together.
Absolutely. And they get the $50 gift certificate.
But, so just as a side note, so the last couple of years, my grandchildren have been, and so we've done the One Book, One Community, and last year's the girl named Bicycle. We were searching all over the scavenger hunt for bicycle parts, and I have to tell you, and we would read in the afternoon, in the quiet time, we'd read a chapter or two of the book, and it was fantastic, and they both loved it.
Well, I think
Both loved it.
what I
So
love about it this year that I haven't noticed in the past, and maybe I just haven't noticed it, is the amount that the town government is taking part in, and the Children's Museum and the library and the Open Space Committee. That's wonderful.
it
And the
is,
fire department,
no, it's a wonderful opportunity. So
Megan does an incredible job in
Yes.
organizing that as the leader.
Yeah.
That's great work. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, thanks to Megan. All right, so we are at HWRC updates, and that would be Director of Student Services report, the summer school update and preschool update.
So Gina, before you go on, and I know that we're talked a little bit, we rearranged the order after we talked to our chairperson, just to have you go a little first. I just want to take a minute. I think we just need to recognize and congratulate Lisa
I'm
Murray
sorry, yes.
and Bill Bontempi on their election and the re-election to the Camden Wilbraham Regional School District Committee. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Everyone's still in my thunder here. Okay, wait. We are, oh, sorry. We're looking forward to working together. I also want to recognize Michelle Immersion for her 9 years on the school committee, who decided not to run again this year. And we will acknowledge Michelle at a later school committee meeting where we acknowledge a lot of our retirees from last year as well too. So congratulations, Lisa. Congratulations, Bill.
And Michelle Boudreau from
And,
Hamden was also elected.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm working my way there. So the next thing is, this is a tough crowd here. The next thing I would like to recognize is Michelle Boudreau, who ran for school committee on Hamden and got reelected on this past Monday. So we congratulate Michelle Boudreau for Hamden as well. I would also like to recognize in the audience today who's joining us is Joe Lawless as well too. So we welcome you to join us on our school committee meeting as well too. And anyone else want to say anything before I finish my pieces there? Okay, everyone's good. So congratulations to Michelle, Bill, Lisa, and we're glad that you guys are part. We look forward to working with you guys on our school committee. With that being said, Gina Ryan.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a brief update on summer school programs. This document that you're looking at here kind of summarizes what we're offering. At Thornton Burgess, we are going to have the academic clinic, and that focuses on grades 2 through 12. These are our moderate needs students, and they will be attending Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The dates of programming are, it starts July 6th, and the last day of programming is Thursday, August 5th. It's a 5-week program. And the hours for this program are 8:30 to 11:30. We will also house the 2 transition classrooms at TWB and ELT1, which is during the school year, housed at Minnechaug. This program is a little more intense. These programs are more intensive. They go Monday through Thursday, and they have 4-hour days. They will start Tuesday, July 6th, and go through Thursday, August 5th. Mile Tree, we will be offering the same academic clinic that we had at TWB for pre-K to 1, and days of service will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, same as TWB, with 3 hours of service Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The intensive resource room, we have 2 classrooms. One's located at Mile Tree and one is located at Stony Hill. And those classrooms will receive services Monday through Thursday for 3.5 hours at Mile Tree for the summer. So our summer program supervisor is going to be Adam Garand. Our coordinator for the special ed program at TWB is going to be Melanie Furman, and Kayla Martins will be in charge of the Mile Tree Summer Program. Other staffing for the program includes speech and language pathologist, an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, a counselor, a BCBA, teachers, and paras. So I just want to go into, I know we talked about special ed versus general education programs, and we're struggling to find staff for the program. We are doing okay as far as being able to fully staff the special education program, but we are having trouble getting enough staff to be able to operate general ed classrooms. We did all the job postings before April vacation, which was April 16th. We had a very low response rate. So we sent a separate email to all of our paraprofessionals, just reminding them of the opportunity to work summer. We also sent an email to all the teachers in the district about it. Still low response rate. So what we decided to do was on School Spring, we reposted the teaching positions, and our contractual rate for teachers in district is $40 an hour, but typically we only offer external candidates $25 an hour. So we reposted with the $40 amount and still did not get a huge response. We did get a couple of teachers from that reposting. We reached out to UMass, we reached out to Bay Path to try to get candidates. We are in the interview process for counselors. We have no internal counselors that have expressed interest in working for the summer program. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we would love to be able to offer general ed programming for the summer, but we may end up having to convert that to maybe intervention that we could have for a couple hours a day, but a full program, we don't have the staffing right now to support that. Al, do you have anything you want to add to that?
We did internal, we did external. We're looking for teachers. If anyone knows teachers that are willing to work during the summer, we really think this is, something we'd like to be able to provide for our students. But at this point, as Gina put, we're going to be able to, by law, we have to provide a program for our students with IEPs. So that will be the focus with the staff that we have. We'll be focusing on providing that for that summer school first.
So I just want to put out there that we're still struggling. I just want to put out there that we're still struggling finding enough paraprofessionals to support even our special ed students. We put an email out to paraprofessionals, didn't really get a large response. So we typically ask that paraprofessionals work the full 5 weeks. And we just sent an email out offering the opportunity to job share, so that if people don't want to commit to 5 weeks of summer work, that they can job share with someone and do 2 or 3 weeks and share the position.
Both your microphones are on.
Mine is on because it's running me out.
Gina,
I
it
think
sounds like
Kate's
you're
is on
being
as well.
very creative
We're trying.
and looking for solutions. I appreciate that.
Good observation. Al, is this similar to what we went through last year?
Yeah, it's tough to find staff, and we want to be able to provide the services for our students, but we can't provide it if we don't have the staffing in place. So we have to. Yep.
So similar to what we went through.
Similar to what we went through last year. Yep.
Did you mention, I didn't catch it, did you mention how many students currently you have signed up for the program?
So it's based on recommendation for special education. We have the criteria that were given to special ed teachers is if they experienced an interruption in their special ed services due to COVID, if they demonstrated regression over breaks and the teachers collect data on that. And the third would be if they're functioning 2 grade levels, two years below grade level. And the teachers did a nice job of filling out the recommendation forms for students with special needs that qualify for extended year.
So Al, is it that we're not offering a competitive salary, or is it just people aren't?
So we're paying them, we're offering them what the contract says, which is $40 an hour for people that are internal. So you know, we're pushing it out there, Sean. We advertised it, we pushed it out there again with paras. We're trying to come up as creative ways as possible. To Gina's point, even externally, when we do external, we usually even give a less rate. We bump that up to $40 an hour. We're still not getting teachers. You know, teachers work really hard, and a lot of times during the summer, they want, Michelle's acknowledged it, they want to take
Oh, dear
the
God.
time off, and they want to
Yes,
be with their
yes.
families, and so I get that, but on the other hand, we want to be able to provide these services for our students. I guess the main thing Gina wants to just clarify is that we said earlier, we're going to offer 2 types of summer school programs, and at this point, we're not going to be able to offer that due to the lack of staff.
Joe, we usually don't open it up to questions, but if you have a quick one.
Okay, could we offer the classes virtual? Would that make it? Would maybe teachers feel more comfortable, they log on 3 hours from home and have, you know, hundreds of kids, or, you know, 100 kids rather than 10 kids in the classroom? Just a thought to keep kids, you know, focused on school.
Gina, did you hear the question? Okay.
I actually could not hear the question.
Okay.
That's on our list of Plan B options. So as we've seen, we don't have the staff to maybe do what we want and have a full program. I think as Gina shared, we might look at whether we could do some interventions and then possibly look at whether we could even do some of those remotely if needs be.
The one thing that we heard from our teachers, Joe, to the point is they want that in person with the students, right? That's the part that we think that was missing a lot.
Funding to support that.
So the only thing, Patrick, is by contract is like what we offer them.
So let's separate
Okay,
contracts. So let's
gotcha.
ask first, do we think there's a number that
Yeah.
you get more people for? And if that's the case, we can go back to HWA and ask if we have the
Yeah.
ability
Yeah.
to, for this summer, given the challenges that we've had,
Sure.
have a memorandum of understanding, the agreement. And go.
It's certainly an option. I mean, certainly something to look at. I defer to Michelle. I'm not sure if that number there that would interest, but we certainly we can certainly look into that, right? And we can talk to Damien about that and see if there's something that we could possibly do. Yeah, absolutely.
And in fairness, Lisa, if you have questions, you can certainly bring them up.
So in answer to Joe's question, we do have a plan B. We have to go virtual on some of this.
Okay?
That's not our number one focus. Our goal is to get students in buildings
Yes.
Right. and getting face to face with our teachers.
Okay. Anything else on, for Gina? Gina,
I think she had preschool update too.
full update, Gina?
Yeah, I just pulled that document up. This is just a brief overview of preschool, just to remind people what we have in the district. Due to COVID, we currently have 5.5 preschool classrooms. We needed to open up a morning session over at Minichog in the classroom that is kind of connected to Lisa Person's classroom over there. The reason for this is we weren't able to operate at capacity, so we didn't have enough space to house our students who qualify and need the program throughout the year. So we opened up that additional classroom. Next year, we'll be able to go back to our 5 integrated classrooms. Each classroom that we have consists of 8 peer partners and 7 students with special needs. That's the integrated model. At Mile Tree, we have 2 integrated classrooms. We have Pam Clark and Liz Kranz. Pam is 2 half-day sessions. Liz Kranz has a mix of full-day students and half-day students. At Mile Tree Extension, which is located at Minichog, we have 1 integrated classroom. Lisa Person has 1 morning session and 1 afternoon session. And then Green Meadows, we have 2 integrated classrooms, Jen Kane and Kellen Kalish. Jen Kane will have the 2 half-day sessions, and Kellen will have a mix of full day and half day. So we went through the lottery. Every single one of our peer slots is taken. We had over 45 applicants to the preschool program, and we currently have a wait list. There are several families who are on a wait list for full day because they weren't able to take the half day slots. And we do have some on a wait list to be able to get an opening at Wilbraham if it becomes available. So I don't know if anybody has questions. I just wanted to give a brief overview of the program. We currently have more special ed openings over at Green Meadows than we do in Wilbraham, but all of our peer slots are full.
You know, with the federal government's push for universal pre-K, has DESE given any indication to us on how we would execute that?
Well, I mean, I think we'd have to think about where the preschool would be located, and when we're doing restructuring, figure out if it makes sense to create an early childhood center and have it be a pre-K and kindergarten center that we would be able to offer that service much more readily than having preschool located in 3 different places.
Good point. Any other questions for Gina? Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Going to my superintendent's report, that's been, we sort of restructuring the agenda. So I'm happy to report a couple things that we have returned to full in-person education at all levels. Just as a reminder, elementary started on April 5th, middle school started April 28th, and high school started May 17th. We still have families that have opted for the remainder of the school year to stay remote, and those numbers are the following. At elementary, there's 114 students that are currently staying remote to the end of the year. Middle school, there's 85, and in high school, there's 268. But I'm happy to report, you know, we are back in full person instruction, and it's been very, very successful, and I thank everyone for that. Yesterday, I had a call with the commissioner, and he informed us that his plan is to full return to in-person instruction for the start of the 21-22 school year. He doesn't believe that there'll be any distancing. And again, this is all conversation right now. There's nothing that has officially happened. But he doesn't believe that at this point, that distancing is going to be required for next year. But he did indicate to us that there might be masks that are required at certain grade levels. And he hasn't given us any more information than that. But he is expecting us all to be fully in person for the start of the 21-22 school year. And there's more to come on that.
Was he thinking that there could be masks on teachers but not on students?
Not sure yet, Cheryl, right? So we'll find a little bit more about that depending on the school and the grade level. So we're not sure about that, but he did indicate that there might be some still mask requirements.
Did he give any indication about vaccination for teachers or anything like that, requirements that he thought that there would be some sort of a mandate that would come down?
Nope, not yet, but I do have some information shortly about our teachers and vaccinations as well too. I do want to take this time to thank everyone for the good work as our students return to full in-person instruction. We couldn't have done it without everybody certainly working together. I also want to give you an update from the CDC and the Commissioner on the most recent guidelines and the guidance that has come. And I know I've shared this with the community and as well as I share with school committee, but things are ever changing and certainly moving fast. First, mask wearing. I think that was one of the biggest things that took place this week, not only in our community, but also in the country. So let me be clear that students and staff right now in Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School District, at all levels, must wear masks while we're in our schools. Students at outdoor recess, they may remove their mask, which is a wonderful thing for our students and our teachers and outdoor recess. But when they're outside, they can remove the mask. Students during phys ed classes outside may also remove their mask. Students having outdoor classes, and I saw a lot of that taking place today, teachers taking their students outside, students at that point can remove their mask as well too. And also you might have noticed even as you're pulling into Minichog, students playing a sport may also remove their mask as well too. So that really just took place this week. Lastly, we just received some updated guidance, and I know I shared that with you yesterday, and Steve's Hale will be sending information out to our Minichog graduates as well too, about graduation guidance changing, and students do not have to wear masks during graduation. Although guests who are not fully vaccinated need to wear masks during the ceremony, which will be taking place. I know you got your invitations on June 4th. So those are the mask guidelines that have changed over literally this week. Questions on that at all?
Any update on the prom in terms of masks? Or?
So we're working on that right now. At this point, you know, we had a meeting just yesterday, I think it was myself and the Department of Public Health nurses and Terry Brand and Steve, and we're working out the final logistics of that. In terms of, right now, we're asking students to be prepared to wear masks. We're putting that message out right now. As you might be aware of, a lot of the girls are out there buying their dresses and they're gonna have that coordinated mask as well too. So right now at this point, we're saying that students are gonna be coming prepared to wear masks during prom. Health and safety, and I know usually Terry's in the past, so I'm sort of giving a communication from all of us for that. So a weekly chart that I share with you, there's only 3 positive cases right now throughout our entire community that took place over this past week. Both communities currently are in green, both Hamden and Wilbraham are both in green. In terms of vaccination, the question was just asked. Currently, right now, we have, that has been reported to us, we have 284 employees that are fully vaccinated in our school district. Any questions on health updates? Any questions about the mask? Any questions on graduation?
Can we do a shout out to all those seniors that won awards last night?
So it was a wonderful, so not only was it seniors, but it was also freshmen,
Yep.
sophomore, junior, senior. So last night was our award ceremony for the high school. They did a phenomenal job. Heidi Drark did incredible work, and the preparation was all done virtually, although we had the students present in the auditorium, which was air conditioned. So they did a great job. The awards that students received, both freshmen, sophomores, juniors, that took place from 7 to 8. At 8:15, we had the seniors come in. Virtually, they came in and received a lot of the scholarships. And actually, I have a copy of the program for you guys kids, putting that virtually as well too in the packet so you guys can see. A lot of scholarships, and students also went through and told where they're going for next year, what their plans were for next year as well too. So it was a really nice event that took place here at the high school. Next, town meeting. I also want to just take a moment to thank both the towns of Hamden and Wilbraham. Both towns on Monday, May 10th, approved the budget for the Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District. Thanks to the town of Hamden, thanks to the town of Wilbraham, FinCom of Wilbraham, the advisory of Hamden, the budget subcommittee of the Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District, the Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District School Committee, Aaron Osborne, our Director of Finance and Operations. Great work, and I think it was unanimous on both in Hamden and Wilbraham that it was approved the budget. Aaron was obviously in Wilbraham and I was in Hamden. Question was asked, why is Al always in Hamden and Aaron and the other Director of Finance in Wilbraham? We certainly can switch. I would say at any time, I'd love to talk to both towns, not having them the same exact day and the same exact time as well too. It makes it a little bit more trickier for us. We could possibly look at something like that for next year as well. Next, school choice. We did the lottery for school choice. And Kate, do you have something to share with them? So as you might be aware, you approved 25 slots for the high school for the 2021-2022 school year. The breakdown by town is the following, and Kate will pull it up for you in a second. 19 in Springfield, 5 students from Munson, 1 student from Palmer. That gives you a total of 25 total students. Previous schools, when they were in private school, there were 6. 2 came from St. Mary's, 4 came from St. Michael's. Public school online, 1 student from Tech. Public schools in general, the 18 of them. Duggan Middle School, 1. Munson High School, 5. Palmer High School, 1. Springfield Renaissance, 2. STEM Middle, 1. Savas International, 6. Hamden Charter School, 2. So again, total of 25. I just have to just clarify on this. So 25 names were drawn. We have a waiting list, total of 37. So we send the invitations out, congratulating them, welcome to our district. We might get a student that comes back and says, we've changed our mind, we're not going to do this. Then we just keep working our way through the waiting list on that as well too. All letters were sent out to the students of the 25 that received the slots. The additional 13, possibly 12 or 13, received a notice saying that you're on the wait list. We'll inform you if things should change as well. That's right. When today that someone didn't want to do it and they moved on. Questions on town meeting, questions on school choice. Great. The next thing I think I have, you know what, I'm going, actually, I went to new business, Cheryl. I'm sorry.
Did we skip that?
Yeah.
Aaron, did you have anything for finance and operations?
That's okay, I'll get over it.
Sorry about that. So I'll stop there, Harry. I'll
We're
stop
all
there.
ears, Aaron.
Director of Finance and Operations. there. Aaron, sorry.
Honestly, I'll steal some of my thunder on town meeting. I want to thank everyone who was there and the towns for supporting us. It was fabulous. I want to thank the FinCom and the advisory at Hamden, who were at every phase along the way incredibly supportive. You know, I think the challenges we had with the local contribution and the conversations we had were important. And I just hope that DESI doesn't do that to us next year. Knock on wood.
They will.
It happens. And,
It'll be worse.
you know, I have to be a little doom and gloom. It's my job. Interestingly, so segueing into other things on doom and gloom, it is my job to be doom and gloom, but I've had the pleasure of kind of providing, I think, what's been pretty good information all year, that we've kept our head above water, and that in some areas we're actually doing well. So I feel really good about that, and a lot of it comes from the efforts. And one of the people, the departments I really like to recognize right now is our food services department. Last week, I got the financial update on our school meals program. Julie sent it to me, and it didn't have any red on it. So we are slightly in the black in our food services program right now. I don't know another program that's in the black right now. May and June are usually a little slower. A lot of what school lunch programs make their money on is all of the extras. So we had high school students back. They're the most prolific eaters of all of the extras. And with seniors now leaving, a quarter of our extra buyers are going to disappear, right? So I'm really happy I put that 30,000 aside, just, you know, crossing my fingers and thinking that would hopefully be below that. And Julie and her staff have done a tremendous job watching the hand out meals, making sure people are fed. It really is so important and wonderful to see. So for those of you, Lisa, who's new in the audience, we have an obligation to support our school lunch program. And if they're in the red at the end of the year, we're obligated to make them whole. It's a legal obligation. So our hope is to cross our fingers and be in the black every year. And traditionally, the program is in the black. But with COVID, handing out just lunches, just meals, it gets really challenging. Again, like I said, what school lunch programs make their money on is all of the extras. It's just like, you know, you go to the supermarket and all the little candy and treats are at the front, and that's what the supermarket makes its money on. Same thing here, right? So we keep the lights on with all the lunches, and any way we're going to make any money is from those extras. So really wonderful news from Julie, and I thank her team tremendously. They work so hard. Additionally,
Before you get off, Julie, either Aaron or Al, I know that there were some directives coming out for summer lunch program, but if we could just say it on air so it's on the record. What is the, when does it start? What's the deal?
I don't have all the dates of when the summer program will start. Please be on the lookout, sorry. But the no cost meals program will continue all summer. So we will be running that all summer. For my understanding is that program, even into next year, will continue to run. So right now, all of our students are receiving meals free of charge. That will continue over the summer and I believe into the fall, as far as anyone knows. So my fingers are crossed that we just do away with collecting money for school lunch for kids, and we find a way to just make sure kids are fed. It's important. Hungry kids aren't ready to learn in the classroom, and anytime you put a barrier in the way of any child to eat, you end up with hungry kids. So
Julie Duval will be getting that information out. So one of the things that Department of Education, as Aaron alluded to, this summer is a continuation of what took place this school year. That's one of the things we heard loud and clear from the commissioner. So everything that we did this year, this past summer, for in terms of food, schedule might look a little different from the past, but we'll get that information out. I'll make sure for the next school committee meeting and all that.
right, we are talking about also how to, as students come into our summer programs, how we're going to serve that food to them. Largely probably providing bag lunches of some sort to include breakfast the next morning. So every student will take their lunch and the breakfast.
Right.
Julie's done incredible work since from the very beginning of this pandemic.
We also have, a small number of past due accounts of students who haven't paid for lunch for various things over a period of time. It's a very small amount, given that school lunch is effectively no cost right now. Julie has more than enough donation money to cover that, so there's no worries there. That's another obligation, something that we need to cover if it continued. So we should be fine there. And then you will see in your packets, there is a device return notice that was sent out to families. Parents, you probably received that. We are making a commitment to collect devices in a much more organized manner than we gave them out. You will recall we were very desperately handing them out. And I would love for it to have been more organized, but it just wasn't. We didn't have the luxury of any sort of planning. The devices came when they came, and we had a lot of families who were in desperate need. So this has gone through all the principals. The principals have all agreed to this. The principals will be sending out additional messaging. We just felt it was important to prepare families for the inevitable pickup and give them a sense of what that would look like to start preparing. There will be some more detailed explanations from the school principals in regards to this. We will start working also on a protocol for the device handout again next year, how we start handing them out, who and how gets them. And as we do that, we will also start talking about the device insurance. I think there was sort of an agreement that we wanted to look at handling that as an internal matter. I have no issue with that financially. I don't think it's a deal break, a bank breaker. We have some of the materials from, I think East Long Meadow had a good model, and Dr. Pembe put some work into that. We will continue to work on that and have something ready for students in the fall.
So now what about students who may require devices for summer school?
We can make devices ready if they need them. A lot of our hope has been that we would be fully in person and try to get away from devices more than have them. But if we do find a need to have devices, meaning we're doing some remote instruction, we can work that out. We just need to see what those numbers look like.
We decided,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Gina's program typically do have some degree of assisted technology devices that would be part of that, and we would just sort of dovetail a program with that.
I was going to ask, so during this whole thing, my son used our computer at home. I wasn't using it as much as I have a work computer, and my wife too. Is that something that he's going to be able to use next year, or is it going to be strictly, have we decided on that yet?
Yeah, we really hearing from the principals and the teachers, the message really was loud and clear that they don't want to do BYOD. There are security concerns.
What security concerns?
Access concerns.
What access concern?
So some of the access concerns being student devices that, so if you have 4 or 5 different types of devices with various updates or not without various updates, that's something we can force on students. So if they're using web browsers that don't have the add-ons and things like that we would be using this in the classroom. Teachers are spending with those BYOD devices. They are spending an awful lot of time having to support students who don't have, say, access. There are outdated versions of browsers that won't view PDFs, for example. Is just one sort of ad hoc example. And other items that won't work. We can update computers almost instantly through a push model. Whereas, if a student's device comes in and it isn't updated, we don't have that ability. We do also lose control in terms of what students have access to, somewhat from school, but also at home, depending on the device. I mean, we could, I don't have every detail. It was really, it was unanimous among, I think, the principals, and what they were saying they heard from their staff would be most beneficial, was to sort of not have it be like the option.
Yeah, I'd like you to look a little more into that, and I'd like to know exactly why. I mean, especially since, we have a perfectly good computer at home, and it'd be one less computer that the system would buy, and it automatically updates on everything. So I don't understand what the issue was updating on a browser is.
Right.
I think every computer pretty much nowadays updates on its own, so. But yeah, I'd like a little more information, because I could see that a lot of families out there might have computers that their students can use and potentially could save us some,
We'll get some more information.
yeah.
Didn't we once
Just-
upon a time have a technology subcommittee?
Yes.
Or I got on the school committee,
Yeah.
there was a
Yes. Yeah, there
technology
was.
subcommittee.
I believe I was chair of that subcommittee.
And what happened to that? Maybe
We
it's time to
haven't
bring
met
that
yet.
puppy back.
I am all for it.
Substantial meetings,
Yeah.
What was that?
for too many meetings.
I couldn't hear, what is it?
Too many meetings
Yeah.
scheduled.
Too many meetings.
So I think actually even this year, we designated a subcommittee, didn't we? Do we give people?
But I don't.
No?
I thought
I
we did it as
think
an ad hoc, so
Maybe,
originally what
yeah.
happened was 2 years ago, we moved it into budget.
Right.
And if it was as needed, and
Right.
ultimately what we found at that point in time is it was not needed, and we didn't really have many technology discussions. If I recall correctly, we had about one.
Right?
And then it became one of those committees that was an ad hoc, if needed, it would be reinvigorated.
And just to let you know, so our issue with using school registered devices is, so when I check my kids on Dino, I cannot see what they're on if it's a home computer. If it's a school computer, I know exactly what website they're on. I know that they're following along with me because my screen is on their screen. When they use a home device, they're not even on my Dino.
I don't think that we use Dino.
I'm not sure how you keep track of your kids, but that's what we do.
We use a couple of different ways of tracking. I know you guys use Dino.
Yeah.
That's similar to sort of the concerns they have. I think we have similar concerns with some of the software.
School Dojo we use.
School Dojo,
That's
right.
Dojo, right? So,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I use Dojo for communication, but
Yeah, I would have no problem with, and I'm sure other parents wouldn't, is giving access. I'm just saying, we're just gonna be a computer that just sits in the corner of our house. Cool, thank you.
That's it. I'm done.
Sorry.
Thanks,
You'll
Aaron.
get a- You'll get a financial report the next week.
Okay. So, we were at school choice superintendent's evaluation.
Sure. So I gave you the update on school choice. Next is superintendent's evaluation. Kate, if you could just go if you could. So certainly this is just a draft. Obviously, as you can tell right across it, it couldn't say more draft than that. Each year, tough crowd. Each year, we try to improve upon our superintendent's evaluation process, and each year it seems to get just a little bit more complicated. Fortunately, most of the committee members are veterans at completing this important task. Since we now post the evaluation process documents and artifacts online, members can access and review all the information on their own timeline. However, having said that, the school committee as a whole needs to set up a timeline to accomplish the superintendent's evaluation by the end of June. The following is a draft, please. It's just a draft for your consideration. General process information is as follows. Superintendent's performance goals, professional practice, student learning, and district improvement goals were approved in November of 2020. Artifacts, a selection of documents which are being submitted via the shared Google file to be reviewed by each school committee member. And I think you already received those. I think Kate sent those out. My goals and the artifacts on Tuesday of this week. We promised by the week of May 17th. Next is standards, the instructional leadership, management and operation, family and community engagement, and professional culture. And the next is the DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, summative evaluation form to be completed by the Superintendent's Evaluation Subcommittee and discussed in open session. We checked actually today, a conversation with myself and Kate, and multiple conversations with Cheryl. I think the Superintendent's Evaluation Subcommittee, we kept that as sort of on a pause until we drew closer, so we did not designate people to be for that Superintendent's Evaluation Subcommittee. So just for the 2021 timeline considerations, like I said, May 18, the artifacts were posted to shared Google file. Additional materials are being added daily. May 20th, school committee meeting, superintendent's evaluations on the agenda and preliminary discussion of your process and of your timeline. Next is June 10th, it's just our next school committee meeting. We thought that maybe that's the superintendent's evaluation on the agenda and the superintendent reports out to the public. And then a combination of May 18th through June to determine. Members take time to review the artifacts online. Members complete the evaluation form, not the seminar form, but the evaluation form. Members submit their evaluation forms like we did in the past. We did it in a sealed envelope, but this time we'll do it electronically. In June, date to be determined, superintendent's evaluation subcommittee, they meet, review and tally evaluations from each member and write a summary for that. In June 24th, school committee meeting, summary evaluation to school committee based on individual evaluations submitted. And just appreciate by June 30th, my evaluation along with all principals and teachers' evaluation have to be submitted to the Department of Education as required, so that this way then we can update all that for ELAR for the next school year. Again, just a draft of a timeline, just to give you something to work on.
And one of the things that Alan and I went back and forth on today about was that DESE in 2019 actually changed the evaluation at district's discretion at this point to a 2-year cycle, so that year 1 would end with the formative evaluation, and year 2 would end with the summative evaluation. They also, in doing that, went from 40 indicators down to 20 indicators. And what they wanted the school committees to hone in on was things that really accounted for student growth and family intervention and all of the things that we really deal with, as opposed to 40 indicators that are, a lot of them are more suitable to teachers' evaluations than for the superintendent's evaluation at the level he is. So that's an improvement that will happen over the next year or two. I think as we look at it, we may want to, as a school committee, to decide whether next year we go on that 2-year cycle or we stay with a 1-year cycle. And that can be a good conversation to have. But at this point, Al had already done his due diligence. And so we're going with just the 1 year this year. And there's, I did check with Tracy Novik at Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and she said that many districts are staying with just the 1-year format at this point. Any questions about that? I think what we need to do now, and that, thank you for that timeline. That was great. I think we need to have a vote on a subcommittee and discuss who will compile the evaluation, the ratings, the narrative, how will it be composed, that kind of thing. Now, Bill and Patrick, you've had experience doing the subcommittees, right?
I think last year it was Bill, Patrick, and myself.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? You want to just
I nominate Bill, Patrick, and Maura for the
There you
subcommittee.
go.
John, that was
There
great.
you go. Seconded by Michelle.
Do we have a second?
Michelle,
Very
seconded.
Discussion.
So the only question is.
I think that would be great.
Right, so historically, and I will speak to the time I've been on.
Can you speak up, please? I can't hear you through the mask.
So historically, the question would be the chair. For the time I've been on the committee, the chair has always been one of the 3 people that has helped create the final review. So that would be the question, I think, to you and to everybody else, is do people feel the chair should be one of the 3 people creating it? If people don't feel that way.
I think the chair should be one of the 3 people because the chair's name goes on it and is instrumental in the compiling of all of the information submitted by the members.
I make a
Amendment, I guess?
amendment, and I nominate Cheryl, Maura, and Bill.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen you push up enough so fast.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
So
Roll call.
just, can we do a little, just for the new Michelle Bedrell, who's new and now got reelected on our school committee. So everyone has input into it. And what the subcommittee does is they take all the input from everybody else and compile it into one evaluation they put out. So they're all equally weighted, whether you're on the subcommittee or not.
You were able to fill it out last year.
yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
that's
was
right.
here last year.
Okay, sorry, that's right.
So
Last year was a
what
blur.
happened was I made a motion to nominate these guys. Patrick amended my motion to take him off and to put Cheryl on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna vote on the amendment and then vote on the full, just to, give you it can get a little. Cool.
All right, so we're voting on Patrick's amendment first. Roll call vote, Laura?
Aye.
Michelle? Aye. Sean?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Patrick? Myself, aye. Now we'll vote on the motion.
Yeah.
Roll call vote.
No.
Laura?
Aye.
You don't want to do one.
No, it's- isn't it-
I'm sorry,
You
no,
wanna say
right?
nay?
Nay, sorry,
That's
sorry. I apologize.
Sean?
Nay.
Nay.
Michelle? Bill?
Thanks, Bill.
No,
No. Cheryl? No. Okay. This motion is passed, so it is myself, Laura, and Bill.
Now, in order to keep up with the timeline, is the school committee meeting set up for the 17th? I have on my calendar the 17th.
We changed that.
We changed that to the 24th, so
I didn't think we changed it. I thought we were waiting for the principal set.
So I
I
don't
still
want
have
to
it
go
as
out
the
of order on
17th.
the agenda. Can we just maybe talk about that's the next thing on the agenda?
Well, it's still
Sure.
it's still part of this.
Okay, perfect.
discussion.
So what we're hoping to do is do a June 10th and a June 24th
Right.
for school committee meetings. And one of the major reasons why is not only talking to the principals about the after action, I think that's coming up later with you and Tom. But another important thing, we want to have June 10th as our celebration day, that we're going to be bringing back our retirees from last year, our retirees from this year, our Green Spoon Award winners from last year, our Green Spoon Award winners for this year. We're hoping to have it before the meeting, like we do outside in the courtyard there. Full disclosure, well-deserved. Kate is away next week. And so when she comes back, like getting this all organized and ready and prepared, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I need her help to do that and get it ready. So for her to be away next week and then get it organized for that following Thursday. So hoping we can push it out to June 10th and June 24th.
Wait, you're making
So-
her work on her own retirement party?
Yeah, it's not-
No, her retirement party is, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I know.
what I had down on this timeline was the committee members submit completed individual evaluations and allow enough time in our meeting on June 10th for clarifying questions. And then on June 24th, I'm sorry, then on June 17th, the subcommittee would meet to compile and create the composite evaluation. And then the final evaluation would be presented and discussed and voted in public meeting on June 24th.
Sure.
So can you
Does
meet
that
on that
sound-
date, Bill? On the 17th of June?
Is
Or I
that-
mean, we could pick any other day besides that.
Right,
but-
it doesn't
No,
have to be the same.
if it's a little bit later, like I said, those are work days. So it's a Monday, right?
No.
No, these are all
Thursday.
Thursdays.
All Thursdays.
So we could pick a different day that week.
Yeah, why, just leave that open-ended for now. Just,
Okay.
if we can just solidify the 10th and the 24th for the school committee dates.
Yeah.
And then the three of us can decide.
Yeah,
when we
because I
want
mean, a
to-
Monday would honestly be better.
Cheryl, what's the final submission?
Mondays would
date
be
for everybody
better.
else?
I can't hear you.
Yeah,
What's
Monday
the
would be
final
better.
submission date for everybody else?
Sound like June 10th.
The final submission date for school committee members individual would be June 10th.
So she said June 10th.
Okay, we good for the clarifying questions. That's where I was a little confused.
Yeah. We were gonna ask clarifying questions on June 10th
So then maybe. I have
and
to
then
push it back.
maybe have it so that Sunday or something like that. The day before you guys meet is maybe when we should have them all submitted.
I
That's what we
guess-
did last year.
Okay,
But I mean, I guess even if you're done with the meeting on the 10th and then we ask any questions then they can be submitted that evening. Because they're getting submitted to Kate, so.
But she might be busy planning her own retirement party.
if, I'll put this in writing and email it to everybody, and please give it some thought, and if you see something that I don't see or something that you want to raise, please just let me know, and we'll kind of,
What if we
Go
did
from
it,
there.
sorry, what if, I'm just trying to hammer this out. What if we did it Monday night, the 21st? That way you'd have the meeting on the 10th for clarifying questions. The school committee would have all the way until the 21st to submit that. And then we could bang out the evaluation on the 21st. It'll take a couple hours, probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours to do it. But it'll be fresh in our brain. for the meeting.
and then we could have the public meeting on the 24th.
I don't want to, yeah, I want to make sure that everybody has enough time to review all the artifacts. So anything we can do to maximize that. So if we can set that up, Kate, would you do me a huge favor and just send reminders just for my office manager? Just because I know she's gonna have to rearrange my schedule and put me out. So we can maybe do it around 6. And that way we can hammer it out.
Are you gonna be on time?
I will be on time. That's why I'm asking her to send me the
I'm
reminder.
just teasing you.
I can have her contact Amy and we'll blast the whole of my schedule.
And just for clarity, like everything's in, so we limited them on our artifacts, because I heard that loud and clear in the past. So it's small number of artifacts, and it's already online now, so you can start.
So are you gonna be adding any more artifacts between now and then?
Well, school doesn't stop between now and then, so there might be something that comes up like the community, yes.
That's what I was looking for. That's all I was looking
Yes,
for.
yes. So the
Yes or no?
communication that I just sent out.
Not next week.
So not next week, but yeah.
Like, put after it new, so you're.
No, because when you go into the folder, you can see what's been added. There's a history
Yep.
and you can see when stuff gets added in there.
Oh darn, I thought it was secretly.
So there'll be new things, to answer Laura's question, there'll be things added as time goes on, but yes.
So you may want to check back frequently.
Now, was this open to the general public to look at the artifacts or not?
Because
That's what I
there's some
thought. I just wanna make sure.
No, it's general public is the public meeting when we discuss the.
Yeah, I just wanted to make
actual
sure that, because I know there's usually some
That's
very
correct.
personal stuff in there, and I wanted to make sure that, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, we're moving on to old business, strategic plan update, which are you giving a strategic plan?
Sure,
update?
just a little bit of
And I'm
that.
going to add to it with the equity plan update because we're urging those.
Okay, so I've had a couple of conversations with Steve Hemming for Mars, for our strategic plan. One of the things that we're working on is he's going to join him and his team. We're going to join our leadership retreat, which is the first week in August, where we have with all our principals and directors that will be coming together. He'll be joining to start that work with us, but he looks forward to working with us for the start of the school year for the 2021-2022 school year and developing the start of the strategic plan.
Can we possibly arrange to have a representative from Mars come out and just provide, it's been a couple of years since we did kind of the overview of how this whole structure works. And I think it would be valuable information for the committee members, new committee members, and even for the general public to know what what this looks like and the basic timelines. So I think it's a very important piece that I want to make sure that everybody has an understanding of what we're looking at. I think some people have an idea that you're going to do a strategic plan in a month or two. And it's a much longer process. So I just want to make sure that we can get them out here. And then if we have any questions, we can hit them with it directly.
I don't think they'd have to do like a full presentation, just
Yeah, because they
or
did
read
one
off their
just a little
slides, but I
while
mean,
ago.
they should be able to just kind of.
So can I just go back, so our June meeting date, can we look at June 10th as a 5:30 start time for the outside events? So we have, when we recognize all of our awardees and our retirees and Kate at 5:30, and then our meeting will start at 6:30. And so this way it can have someone from Mars come at right at 6:30, it could be the beginning of our meeting.
Yeah.
But if we do the 5:30 start outside, hopefully nice weather, 6:30 start our meeting. Okay, great. So yes, Bill, to answer your question, I'll reach out to them for June 10th.
Okay. So I've been getting a lot of questions about the equity audit and the fact that the equity audit is going to be part of our strategic plan. So I just want to put this on for the record because a lot of townsfolk have been weighing in. So this year, our efforts toward equity and education has been to this is like a timeline of what we've done, basically. We passed the anti-racist resolution for MASC. That's done. We included an equity audit in our school committee goals, done. We required the school committee members, administration, and teaching staff to participate in anti-bias training delivered by the Anti-Defamation League. That's been done. We provided funding for anti-bias training, strategic plan development, and equity audit, done. We created a 5-year strategic plan to identify, created a 5-year strategic plan to identify our mission, vision, values, and action steps led by MASC staff. That's ongoing. We interview and select an organization. We will interview and select an organization to conduct a district-wide equity audit. The results to be included within the strategic plan currently ongoing. We're submitting an RFQ to the state on or before July 1. We're waiting for the state to open the timeline to submit the bid. We're establishing a task force stakeholders group after July 1, and we're going to begin the equity audit this summer. We will need a task force and stakeholders group to move this effort forward. This group needs to be inclusive of all areas of our schools and towns, i.e. the school committee member, town government member, town residents member, parents, teachers, administrators, etc. The major focus for this group would be to take the results from both the strategic plan and the equity audit and implement an action plan for systemic improvement. Any questions, comments?
I'm just gonna voice the same concern I had.
We need to speak up, please.
I'm gonna voice the same concern I had previously. This seems like it's being school committee led, and that should not be school committee led. From a lane standpoint, that should be coming from the administration.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with Patrick. I think that it's our guidance that we want this audit, and it's going to be part of the program. So, you know, I appreciate it.
Well, I think there's two things, and I think this goes back in history to the last time we tried this, where we weren't sure who was picking the people for the stakeholder group or task force group, whatever you want to say. Was it the school committee? Was it the administration? I think it's the administration. If what I read led you to believe otherwise, I wasn't commenting on who would select these people. Just that we need a wide assortment of people who can really use their time and talents to make effective change. Both the strategic plan people and the equity audit people will be doing surveys and will be digging into data, and we'll be doing interviews and focus groups. So we need a group of people who will submit to that.
So the only point I'm going to say is we need to work on this all together, right? So it's a combination of administration, teachers, school committee, the community, right? Both towns of Hamden and Wilbraham. We need, and when I say the community of town of Hamden and Wilbraham, that's parents, students, and select boards and people from that as well too. So we need everybody to work it. This is a monumental task, right? Because we don't have one. Most districts have a strategic plan. That's the foundation, and they build off that.
Yeah,
We haven't
right.
had one since 2000. So we're now 22 years later, since we've come up with a full strategic plan. So you're going to need everybody on board to create this and work with this.
So this was just a one step closer to showing what we're doing and being transparent about it.
I think to Patrick's point, it is something that, you know, strategic plan does belong to administration. And we're here to support. We're here to, you know, to support the district administration and what they're doing. But again, you know, it's the district's plan. And we always have to keep in mind, you know, what's the purpose of the school committee? Budget, policy, evaluate, and hire the superintendent. You know, we got to be careful that we're not steering and we spend a lot of time veering into Al's lane. You know, it's the district's strategic plan, but we're here to support him in doing that. So I would say that, you know, we need to, and to Al's point, we have to work collaboratively. We have to work together on this, no question.
Okay. All right. Where are we at?
Subcommittee,
I'm sorry?
subcommittees.
The subcommittee reports, policy.
Okay, so the policy committee met last Thursday, and we will be bringing you some more policies for first readings. And we also discussed one of the policies that is up for a second reading tonight, which was the JIH, searches and interrogation. So Patrick, I know at the last meeting you had said you wanted more robust language, and I was just wondering if you had any suggestions, because I believe you're referring to under number 1, where it says an effort will be made to contact the student's parent or guardian so that the responsible individual may be notified of the situation. Is that what you were referring to with the more robust language?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, did you have a suggestion for that sentence? Not that it has to be done tonight, because it's not, this is only the second reading, but I just want to make sure that,
I would make a suggestion that the student's parent or guardian will be notified of the situation prior to question. I think that's a reasonable thing. We're dealing with minors. So if you have a situation in which you have law enforcement involved, it would certainly be a reasonable step to notify the parents and let them know. I know as a parent, if I was to find out that the police came in and just randomly questioned my child about something and I had been quote unquote notified, or an attempt was made, but I didn't receive that notification, I'd be mad.
so please say it again. Your wording.
The,
So actually, hang on one second. Just forgive me, just for clarification. Isn't the school and your administration and the teachers like a de facto guardians of the children when they're in the school? Isn't there something law about that? Like they're actual guardians during their time in the schools, right?
I believe that's the case.
Right.
Yep.
So in theory, as long as a school person is present, a guardian of the child is being met. It's someone who's there.
but this is our policy, right? So we
Right.
write policy. So, you know, I'm looking at the district as a whole, and I'm looking at the parents that are in this district, and I can tell you that I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the fact that you would have a child who would be pulled aside by law enforcement, and I try to put myself, or like, God forbid, my kids into that situation. And, you know, to say an effort will be made, I mean, it's very vague. Like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna send out an email, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna let loose a carrier pigeon. I mean, you can, you know, you can cover your bases with that a million different ways, but at the end of the day, I think parents do, we owe the parents of this community, you know, the respect to be able to call them to say a situation had arisen, and your child needs to be questioned by a member of law enforcement. And
So
like
then
we
let's make it that then. Let's say that in order for a child to be interviewed by police during their time in school, that a parent has to be notified and has to agree to it. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah.
So if they can't catch me and they can't catch my wife, what happens? Nothing happens, or?
Well,
Because
No,
I'm
but they'll
busy at
probably
work
leave a
and my
message,
wife-
you need to call the school, and so that they can say that they made an effort to contact you. So that if something were to happen and you
Yeah.
say they didn't contact me, they can say, and it's documented, that they made an attempt to reach whomever the point of contact or emergency contact listed on the student's file is.
Well, I think that may make sense for younger children, but I know that at Minichog, there have been really acts of assault where children have been really damaged and police have intervened. And at that point, you may be arresting a 17-year-old.
So I think we're going in a couple different directions. I think this policy talks about interrogation, right?
Right.
So as opposed to, God forbid,
Yep.
something should take place in a
Right.
school
Right.
where there was, not to even, but to use the word assault or something taking place, the police would absolutely intervene, right? So that's not a question. To Sean Kennedy's point, we are the guardian.
It
for-
actually says it in the policy
Oh,
that the
yes.
schools have legal custody of students during the school day and during hours of approved extracurricular activities. It is the responsibility of the school administration to make an effort to protect each student's rights with respect to interrogation by law enforcement officials. Therefore, number 1, when law enforcement officials find it necessary to question students during the school day or periods of extracurricular activities, The school principal or their designee will be present when possible. An effort will be made to contact the student's parent or guardian so that the responsible individual may be notified of the situation. Number two, if custody and/or arrest are involved, the principal requests that all procedural safeguards as prescribed by law be observed by the law enforcement officials.
I would recommend that on part one, when it says the school principal or the designee will be present when possible, let's strike when possible, so that the school principal
Will be
or
present.
designee will be
Will
present.
be present.
And instead of an effort to contact the student's parent or guardian, let's say a phone call will be made to at least one parent
I
or
don't think
guardian,
one
or
would be of what it would be, just a parent will be contacted.
Yeah, will be-
You don't want to
parent
say
will
by
be
phone or something like that.
Okay.
because
because so they could send out an email and say, oh, they're contacted, now go. They fill the procedural role. It seems like if you have a legitimate concern that God, like you said, God forbid, one of our children is getting interrogated, I'd want to get a chance. What if I get a call from Al, hey, Nicholas is getting interrogated, do I say I'll be right there, wait for me, or are they going to start without me?
So that's what I'm trying to say. They should not be able to, a parent should have to decline and say, no, I will not be present in order for that interview to occur.
That's
And
okay,
it's just interrogations. That's what I'm trying to.
right.
By raising the question the other meeting,
Right.
that's what it was. It was trying to ensure that a child has a parent or guardian that is making decisions for them, with them, if this scenario occurs.
Because the only time it wouldn't need to be a parent or guardian is if the student is 18 years or older.
Right.
So the only thing, right, so we gotta look at, we gotta write policy that's gonna be able to be, both ends of this, right? So if there's an emergency situation where it's very dangerous and police are involved right away, that's one scenario we have to make sure that we can't get a hold of mom and dad during that time, and police are there, and we have to either do an investigation or ask questions because it could be fearful of what could take place. That's
If
one
a student's
scenario.
But
arrested,
to your point before, this
Yeah.
is specifically speaking about interrogation.
Okay.
Right.
interrogations, it seems here, if the police arrest the child,
That's a whole other.
that's a whole
ballgame.
different ballgame. There's laws to protect and or serve that. But it's only if the police officer is sitting down in your office or the principal, Steve Hale's office, or whoever's office, one principal's office, and saying, hey, listen, Johnny, did you do this, that, or the other thing? So,
I don't think any of us are experts in
I was
this.
just gonna
What I
say.
would recommend is
Sean.
It's Sean Sweeney.
Yep.
It's understanding with the school resource officer, because that is a different role.
Yeah.
The principals, and let's come back with something that
Okay.
ensures it protects everyone.
We did reach out to the school resource officer, and he
Yes.
said the wording was acceptable for how his procedures followed.
I would say,
I'd have
agree
a
with
broader conversation.
I would agree with Patrick on that. I mean, this
We'll take it
is,
back.
you're getting into some hairy situations because even though they're minors, they do have protections, they do have rights. And I certainly wouldn't want to write a policy that runs afoul to
is Steve
their
Hale
civil
on?
rights.
So I
Is
think that.
is Steve Hale on? Is he in the other group? He might be, I don't know if you have something to add to this.
I don't think we're gonna solve it tonight.
No, I just wanted to make sure that that was the line you were
Flavor.
referring to and what, yes.
I think the when possible, and then that part. those are the
Gotcha.
two.
And
Gotcha.
Sean's gonna be in
He
executive
is
session
on.
tonight, and not that we're gonna talk about this because that's not part of the
No,
executive
you don't
session, but
need
I think that maybe we could set some time to run this by Sean Sweeney to see, get some legal, so that we're covering what everyone's talking about. The extreme situation and when you're just sort of interviewing a child to get information as well. So I think the policy has to cover everything. So let's just get some feedback from him.
Sounds great. And as for our next meeting, well, it was supposed to be the 10th, but so maybe we want to do the 17th. I don't know. It's up to you ladies.
We'll talk to Kate and work around her schedule if that's okay,
Yeah, oh,
because
please.
she's the one who's.
I have two other ones.
Oh, sure, please.
So, JJA.
Yep, student organizations.
So there is a comment on there about, at the end, submit a written request to the appropriate district administrator for review of the principal's decision. And then the formation of any student organization that may engage in activities of controversial nature shall require approval by the principal and superintendent. I would want to make sure that we have a clear process so that folks understand what that looks like, so that somebody can't say that one group was handled differently than another.
Right,
group.
so a
we got-
streamlined process for the
we got something
organization.
there. And then the other one is JHD.
But while you're on this, is there, I read this over and I don't remember offhand. Is there any way that they define what is what meets the bar for,
So I don't think that's within our purview about what could be considered a club or not.
No, just open membership
But
to
the
all interested
procedural
and
part that
eligible.
Patrick, you're
Yeah.
asking about would be something I guess we could ask Alan.
Controversial.
It's not
I
necessarily
think
policy, it's just
controversial
making
is-
sure
Right,
that
like,
you've got
yes.
the procedure behind it that supports
Okay,
what that looks like.
Because we
So
don't really do the procedure part, we're just responsible for the policy.
Correct, correct.
right, so we would have to, okay. And
But
so
if
you
we're
said
putting
this
in our
one.
policy, let's
So-
make
so-
sure that there is a procedure that fit follows that.
what's, yeah, what's the definition of controversial too?
I think we want to leave that at the discretion of the administration. Because what's controversial today, or excuse me, 10 years ago, may not be controversial today. And if we start getting into that, we'd probably be jumping in and changing.
And I'm sorry, you said you have one more?
JHD. So there's two things on this. There's an asterisk on the second one that was having been expelled during the same school year from this district or any district in the Commonwealth. So we're removing that in the proposed one.
Just double check. Sorry, I just have to find my notes.
The reason why that was that way. I'll have to see if I can find the note on that. There was a reason why the MAS.
A home tutor, you can, choose whatever very costly method. It makes it, fairly somewhat prohibitive. So, schools that were sort of willy-nilly expelling kids are gonna think twice about it.
So in any district in the Commonwealth, was what's- any district in the Commonwealth was what scared me from an increase in costs as people.
Yeah.
And then the other piece to that is we need to add additional language on not being a resident of the district, and the district has opted not to participate in the school choice law. Because we participate in the school choice law, but it's only for certain grades. And one can make an argument that as a participant, they don't have to be a resident, and they could push at another grade level. So I would just talk to, see if we have to add additional language. if we're
Okay.
Covered by that.
So whenever we can meet next.
And just one last thing, I
Sure.
just, so we're going back to that first policy that Patrick.
Searches and
And
interrogations.
we're gonna, the interrogation piece
Yes.
with Sean.
Yep.
We had a great meeting a month ago with Trombley and with Zolo, right, and Dan Menard. So isn't that a great opportunity to bring them in for us in the school committee? We talk about a workshop model and talk to them, right? So if police are gonna be called into our school district or into our schools, having Chief Zolo and Chief Trombley giving their input with Officer Menard might be a really good way to start and see how they feel about all this as well, too.
I mean, I think from the policy subcommittee level, we can bring them in there. I'm not saying that we couldn't have them at a school committee meeting and have that discussion.
Sure.
But I mean, ideally, we want to try to not have to push it off longer than we need to.
Yep.
Again,
So even if you want to do it in its policy meeting, whatever, but I think it'd be really good for, I mean, there's a sliver of this we're talking about, but when you're talking to the administration about all different areas and what's happening on every single moment, there's some things that are sense of urgency on, and there are others that might not actually be, but I think getting some input from Zoll, from our chiefs in both communities, we had a great meeting with them, it might be a really good idea.
Okay, anything else on policy?
No, not at this time.
Okay, curriculum subcommittee has not yet met this month yet. It will
No.
be next month. And finance and operations subcommittee, anything?
Nope, only thing I want to say is, again, thank you to the voters of Hamden and Wilbraham for the unanimous approval of the budget. I'm trying to give Aaron a little bit of space so that we can finish up the end of the year. And then, and sometime in July, I'd like to, once we reorganize, I'd like to get together with the finance and operation, or the FinCom and the advisory groups, and you know, just kind of do a red analysis of what we did this year, what worked, what didn't. I've been in the process of trying to contact our legislators. Do they have a schedule change? Only because one of my goals for finance and operations this year is to really bring the legislators into the fold and try to get them to be a little bit more involved in the process, and kind of let them see the sort of horse trading that goes on in developing the school budget. I think there's nothing like ground level observation to give them a real life picture of, you know, when they make a decision at the State House level, how it impacts us at the district level. So still waiting to hear back, but hopefully we'll be able to find ways to weave them into the fabric of the finance and operations subcommittee. So more to come on that. That's all I got.
We can start bringing capital more into that as well. I've been really working with Ed Sandella. I've talked to Bill Powers. We're going to be meeting with Steve Hale over the summer to start really putting together a more exhaustive capital plan for all the schools, but also for Minnetonka, which hasn't had one yet. So it's time to start thinking about that capital plan.
Now, we can actually bring that to select board as well. So if I remember, it was almost a year and a half ago. I mean,
That's where it should start.
there was discussion at the town level to basically do a building by building assessment. So, you know, what's that?
It's open bid right now.
Yeah, so if we can do that, then, you know, we can work with the towns.
Because I think both towns have capital planning committees, that it would be good to pull them in as well.
Patrick, what did you say was off a bid? I'm
Well,
sorry.
this building wouldn't be included. in
The
that, would
building
it?
Yeah, it
assessment
would be
open on a
included in
Oh, is
that.
that off a bid?
Yeah.
So what has
This
not,
building
so
wouldn't be included.
we had approached Hamden, and at that time, Hamden had declined to participate. That may be something that we want to inquire again, so that we have a solid assessment of all town-owned assets that
Yeah.
we're using.
And for clarity, and John's right, this building would not be included in that, as this is owned by the district. However, if we wanted to include that, you know, they might be able to do it, we might be able to reimburse them if they make it part of their process. So I think if we're gonna do an assessment of all the buildings, I don't think they're gonna find much here, but you know, it may be worth it to have them just include this building in their overall survey, and then if there's a cost involved, we'd be able to reimburse them.
So the other part I'd like to add to that is we're been in the loop, as we talked about with the MSBA. We did the doors on Sewell Road. They look fantastic. We just finished the roof this fall on Wilbraham Mill, but there's a couple other bigger projects that I'd like to be part of that conversation I shared with Aaron. When I look at Sewell Road, which we'll know will always be one of our schools in our district, like the doors are beautiful, and now we need some windows. Those windows are the original windows that are in there. And when you talk about the energy efficiency of those, I just want to start having that conversation as well too. We went through the process with MSBA. I think we finalized it this past year when Patrick and myself, we went to, you know, Boston with that. I think we need to start looking at that as well too for some bigger projects in our district as well.
Okay.
Secretary.
Okay, so now, I wanted to pull out the donations and have them read. And I realize this is your memo, so
It's fine, it's fine.
go ahead.
Sure, absolutely.
So do you want to do the meeting approval minutes so that we're in
We're gonna-
line with the agenda?
So I
Well,
have.
what we're gonna do is, he's gonna just read it and thank them, and then that will be part of our consent agenda.
You're great, because I gave that to
Motion to
Stuart.
approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
You've been working. You did.
So what were you suggesting?
The motion has been
We
made and
made the
seconded.
motion to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, that already
Second.
happened?
Yes.
Oh, second now?
Yes,
Good to know. All right. So is there a second?
yes.
There was a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Was there,
Mark?
Aye.
sorry, just before we vote, was there were
No
there minutes? I didn't get. any
No,
minutes.
there were no minutes.
So maybe we, just amend the motion, consent agenda minus the minutes.
Are we good to go? Okay, so there's been a
Patrick made the
motion
motion and I
and a
seconded it.
second, and you said aye.
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Aye.
Patrick? Myself, aye.
Okay, do
Okay.
we need to amend the motion so that it said the consent agenda minus any
Just-
meeting minutes?
Just make a note.
That's what he
He
said.
did.
Just make
Just
a.
check it.
So in the consent agenda was the donations. So I'm pleased to report that the Wilbraham Regional School District has received several donations. And per policy, the school committee votes to accept these generous gifts. As is customary, please acknowledge and accept the following contributions. Donor, Volunteers in Public Schools, Green Meadows. Contribution details, donation to the library, $500. David Kowalczyk Jr., Minichog Regional High School, Jason Miziazik Scholarship Fund, $600. Wilbraham Community Association, Mile Tree, 2021 grants, $750. Jeffrey T. and Gail W. Spear, Minichog Regional High School, Spear Music Foundation, $1,000. The Benavidi Community Impact Fund, TWB, substantially separate special education program, $2,983.70 for a grand total of $5,833.70. So thank you so much to these generous donations. Every little bit helps, and this isn't a little bit, this is a lot.
Thank you.
So we send out letters like we do every year, thank you notes to them, and we sign from the school committee, so those will go out as well.
Okay. So future agenda items, if you just look down, and these have been on there for quite some time, and see if there's anything that needs to be added. School committee goals will need to be taken care of in June, so we'll put that on one of the June agendas. So look back on the school committee goals and kind of give some thought as to what where you're at with the goals, where we are as a group are at, and what we accomplished and what missed the mark. Any other future agenda items that need to be on?
Motion going to executive session.
So moved. Second.
Well, I'm sorry, just real
We
quick,
are,
you would have done the evaluation,
moving
right?
into executive session, we will come back only to adjourn.
I think Michelle had a question.
You're gonna put the
Superintendent's-
evaluation right
The
on the,
superintendent's agenda will be added to that.
okay, all right, sorry.
And just the other things that were asked about tonight, either from Patrick or Sean regarding Julie Dougal, all that stuff, we'll put that on future agenda items as well, too, so keep track of that.
Okay. Anything else?
Just one last thing. So Cheryl, when I was talking about the after action review, I looked at when we went fully remote and then we were in hybrid.
Yeah.
And now we're in a half
Yeah.
remote and half in person. There's 3 different phases. We can do an after action review for the first and second phases, but the third phase we're in right now, so we shouldn't do an after action review for that, but we can definitely do for when we went fully remote. And then for the one when we were at the hybrid, I think it's totally fine to do that. So just to comment on an email I received to you about that.
So I think that will be in Tom's wheelhouse, so
Sure,
I'll get back to him.
you got it.
So before we go, just once again, congratulations to Lisa, Bill, and Michelle. Congratulations,
Yeah.
welcome, guys.
Okay. So we've had a motion to adjourn to executive session. It's been seconded.
You gotta read it.
Oh, I have to read the thing. Thank you. Okay, executive session pursuant to Mass General Law C30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, specifically Mass General Law C214, Section 1B, Massachusetts Student Records Act, Records Law, Massachusetts GLC 71, Section 34D, Massachusetts Student Records Regulations 603 CMR 2300 SEC, and Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, 20 USC Section 1232G and 34 CFR, Part 99, regarding student transfer requests and executive session pursuant to MGLC Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigations, including the town of Hamden et al. Versus Hamden Wilbraham Regional School District et al. And other claims by former student and parent if open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Now, we can vote.
Returning.
Yeah, I already said that. Laura.
Aye.
Michelle. Aye. Sean.
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Patrick.
Aye.
Cheryl. Aye. We are adjourned to